All right. Pleased to be joined today by Kali Terry, president, founder, and CEO of New Verticals Development. Is that right?
Yes, yes, indeed.
And we'll be chatting a little bit with Kali about some of his background in business and how he got started in development and things of that nature. But first of all, thanks for joining us, sir. How you been doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Like we talked about, we got through the holiday stretch and now today I've been removing some ice dams from the house, which
Mhm.
has kept me busy, but all is well.
That's quite a job but I guess it comes with the territory here in Minnesota, right?
It really does. Yep. So, you got to have a roof rake on handy all
Are
year round.
Absolutely. Are you a lifelong Minnesota guy or
I am born and bred in South Minneapolis. I mean,
nice?
I've bounced around and lived in every neighborhood, South and North Minneapolis. Um, yeah, originally grew up in a house in East Phillips and then moved
Hmm.
down Franklin Avenue to Seward Neighborhood, uh, where I spent a good portion of my childhood.
Okay. Well, great. Well, let's talk a little bit about your business endeavors. It sounds like, first of all, just reading through your bio a little bit here, it looks like you have quite a bit of experience in some corporate leadership roles for various businesses here in town. And then you started New Verticals Development in September 2021.
Mhm.
So talk a little bit more about your journey and how you got started in real estate development.
Yeah, um, absolutely. Uh, so yeah, if I could take you back, I think my first kind of collision with real estate was me wanting to buy my childhood home. I told you I grew up in a house on in East Phillips neighborhood. There was a lot of activity going on in that neighborhood in the 90s. And to kind of get away from all that, my mom moved us further east down Franklin to a house on 30th in Franklin in the Seward neighborhood, to where I spent kind of my formative years in that house. My mom actually passed away in that house when I was 12. And later on down the line, the house always remained vacant after that. It was a dilapidated home, absentee landlord. The basement flooded every year. It had a lot of problems. But me personally, I had a lot of sentimental value. I wanted to kind of preserve this home. So one of the ideas I had was, I'm going to need to do the work to save money instead of, getting ripped off by a contractor or just kind of, relying on someone else to do it. I wanted to learn the trade. So I enrolled in Summit Academy in their pre-apprentice carpentry program to learn carpentry and was able to graduate in their program and get hired on with Flannery Construction in St. Paul as a pre-apprentice carpenter and worked in the industry as a union carpenter for 5 years.
Hmm.
Uh, and if I can backtrack, so while I was at
Yeah.
Summit, one day I ventured over to my childhood home, and it was gone. It was tore
Hmm.
down, and there was a hole in the ground.
Hmm.
Um, and so that was devastating. But
Yeah.
it just kind of awoke me to the power of real estate development. And then in its wake, there was this new modern flat built. So I never got an opportunity to purchase that childhood home. But it kind of set me on this course of learning about real estate. And
Hmm.
after working as a union carpenter for this is around tail end of 2007. So
Hmm.
we experienced the market crash in 2008. And obviously the trade works kind of dried up.
Right.
um, Life takes you on another journey, and I kind of made a career pivot in winning the sales.
Hmm.
And I wouldn't come back to that skill set until 2019, when I purchased my first home, became a first generation home buyer, in 2019, purchasing a duplex in the Rondo neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, we can stop there if you want to.
Yeah. No, it's great. You have it's interesting how you just took that interest in your family home and it just sort of went from there and led to some training in carpentry and work as a union carpenter, and then take us from there. I see from your resume you've had experience with industry leaders such as Lifetime Fitness, Super Value, Goodwill, Easter Seals. Talk a little bit about that and how you got onto that path.
Yeah. So around that 2008 market crash, at the time working as carpentry was taking a hit. I mean, the trades were taking a hit. And at the time, you know how it worked is you would sign up, you get laid off and you go down to the union hall, put your name on a list, and the next contractor that needs carpenters would call in and you get sent out to a job site. So
Hmm.
when that dried up, I ended up just kind of doing a pivot and entering sales. Just worked a lot of kind of uh, nondescript sales jobs,
Hmm.
uh, and each just finding a better role with each um, company I was with, which led me to corporate sales for Lifetime Fitness, and worked for Lifetime's corporate office in Chanhassen for a few years in web sales. Really enjoyed that position. Working in the fitness industry, it actually inspired me to start another business, Life Juices, which is
Yeah.
a wellness brand of mine that was inspired during my time at Lifetime. Um, and and in 2019, when I purchased the duplex in Rondo, that spurred a third floor attic conversion project that I was working
Hmm.
on at the time. And kind of pulling from my days as a carpenter, I was able to do all the framing work myself,
Hmm.
hired out, the electrical and plumbing work, and was able to complete that project uh, uh, fall of 2020. And around that time, we experienced the social reckoning after the murder of George Floyd, and all the uprisings that occurred. And at that time, I just remember thinking, after seeing the neighborhoods I lived in burn, of the redevelopment that would be needed. And at the time, I just wanted to have a seat at the table and provide a voice and a vision for some of those redevelopment projects that would occur. And this kind of led me to apply for the List Twin Cities Developer of Color program.
Hmm.
And I was fortunate enough to get accepted into that, and learn quite a bit on real estate development, and just the entire life cycle of a project. I think that
Hmm.
program did a great job of putting us in the room with key bankers and builders and brokers. And they did a great job of kind of resource matching resources with um, our specific project needs.
Hmm.
So um, that speaking of resource match, there was a mentorship feature in that program that paired me with a broker from sand companies, Jamie Thielen. Uh,
Hmm.
and Jamie played a big role in the NOAA preservation project that I was able to complete last year, with the acquisition of a small NOAA building in the Capitol Heights area of St. Paul. Um, and I just want to highlight one thing I thought was really important with that project,
Hmm.
uh, was the public-private partnership that was formed between me and the service provider. that is the master tenant for the building. We were able to, form a partnership that allowed them to um, maintain, you know, their residency and allow and continuing to service the residents that occupy the building.
Mm-hmm.
They sublease the units from me to their
Mm-hmm.
residents who've gone through their program, folks who've experienced homelessness, mental illness, and chemical dependency. They're able to then access permanent supportive housing um, at the 8 Winter building. We were able to preserve.
Great.
Um,
And how many people are you able to serve there?
so that's a 5 unit building.
Mhm.
There's 5 residents there that have permanent supportive housing, and we're now looking to extend that partnership to a few other buildings as well, where their residents can access supportive housing.
Well, I know there's certainly a need for that type of housing and those services, so it's good to hear those projects moving forward. And it sort of fits right in with your, I guess, sort of your mantra of, we believe that valuing people and then place will make progress toward sustainable, healthy communities. Can you
Yes.
expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, and that was a lot of the motivation for starting New Verticals development. We wanted to be a community oriented, um, um, people oriented development company that that kind of focused on small scale projects that give the community what it needs in real time. So for us that means a lot of value add projects, adaptive reuse, creative reuse of existing housing stock, in order to, try to transform the neighborhood in real time. So, not interested in, taking 5 years to get a project off the ground or having, you know, 10 different capital sources.
Mhm.
We want to start with what we have, what we know, and kind of leverage the assets that exist in the community.
Mhm.
Um, Understanding what people are looking for, um, and being able to, move fairly quickly and get a project off the ground. Um,
Right.
so, um,
Right on. And one of the things we talked about previously prior to, I don't know, what was a month or so ago, I wrote an article about the Inspiring Communities program in
yes,
St. Paul, and I know you're participating in that. Talk a little bit about that program and your
absolutely.
role in it.
Yes. Just a really powerful program to um, redevelop community from an equity lens. I really like the way the project or the program pulls in community from all points, you know, uh, in the project. So you have community representation on the development side. It this specific RFP. I know there's been some previous ones, but this specific RFP called out emerging developers, right?
Hmm.
Made it a point of emphasis to include emerging developers, under resources, under resourced developers in the community, to participate in the project. So you have community representation on the planning and the development side,
Hmm.
and then the end user, right? Targeting first generation home buyers, um, to then be the end user. I think it just makes for an all around inclusive and equitable project, right? It's not just looking to bring in one community partner. Even the subject
Hmm.
three, in the workforce equity, and contracting is a big piece. And I think it's really serendipitous for me because I've experienced all those pathways. I mean, when you look at the intended groups that this project that the program is looking to impact, I've gone through that personally. So, I was a first generation home buyer, like we talked about in
Hmm.
2019. I was able to um, partner with NeighborWorks Home Partners for their down payment assistance program. And then later on, able to access their Fix It loan program to help with the third floor attic conversion. So
Hmm.
NeighborWorks is a community partner in the RFP. The fact that it looks to call out subject three workers to include on the project. I've gone through Summit Academy's training program. So I've kind of experienced a lot of um, the connection points that the program is looking to impact. So it feels really good to be a part of it.
Hmm.
I think the overall the Inspiring Communities program is a great tool for community wealth building,
Hmm.
um, and for wealth creation in the neighborhoods it looks to impact. So um,
Right.
it's really really exciting to be a part of.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but part of the idea is to take underused or vacant lots in the city and create affordable housing for
Absolutely,
low-income families. So it's
yeah,
really everybody wins in this scenario,
absolutely.
it sounds like.
Yes, being able to, as an emerging developer, leverage HRA land to then build, 1 to 4 units on, um, is powerful. And then have the end user be, income eligible buyer from the neighborhood. I
Hmm.
think it really pulls in community, and provides, allows community to participate in the upside, not just the planning, but the economic upside of the project. And
Hmm.
there's also quite a bit of emerging developers that were pre-awarded. So,
Hmm.
I mean, that speaks volume to the inclusion and equity that it offers as well.
Hmm.
And we're not just building single family homes. A lot of us have 2 unit or more projects that
Hmm.
were pre-awarded. Um,
Great.
absolutely.
And what's where are you at with your project now in that
Yeah.
program?
So we were pre-awarded. Our project is going to be a 2 unit build on the east side,
Hmm.
and things are advancing forward. We have a lot of community support. We've kind of did some early work with reaching out to um, uh, home buyer counseling programs like Model Cities to kind of identify uh, income eligible buyers early on. So we're really excited about the end product and getting that underway.
Absolutely. And it's great to see initiatives like this, and it's great to see more diversity starting to happen in our development community, but I know there's still a long ways to go. And I wonder if you have any thoughts on just how we can start to move the needle a little bit more on creating a development community that looks more like the community in general and that has more diversity and inclusion. Any
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
I think the emerging developer training programs that exist right now is a great start. Really love the work that LISC is doing on
Hmm.
that end. ULI Ready's program is doing a lot of great work as well. But I think we need more programs like Inspiring Communities that, we talked about pulling in communities from all ends during a project's life cycle. So, I live in Rondo. Um, One of the things you see is a lot of vacant lots.
Hmm.
From Frogtown to Summit and University, each block is riddled with a vacant lot. Being able to do exactly what Inspiring Communities is doing with leveraging that land, um, and allowing emergent developers to build on it, for the purpose of wealth creation, for the community is a great start. We need more programs, right? That's one that comes around ever so often. But if the city can and county can look to partner. uh, with emerging developers and small scale developers in that same vein of, looking to return assets to the community. If, we know land is vacant, we've seen pilot programs turn this land into community gardens. We've seen pilot programs offer single family homes for first time home buyers. So I think really owning in on equity and inclusion is important, but in order to move the needle, folks have to be able to participate in the equity side, the
Mhm.
economic vitality of development projects, whether that's a ownership stake in certain development projects. Um, I think we have to move beyond, allowing community to participate in the planning that results in maybe a rock garden, or a designated green space. We have to move beyond that to allowing community to participate in ownership and equity of real estate development. Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as new verticals development, sounds like you're off to a great start here with some of the projects you've been working on. What is your vision for the future and growth vision? Do you see yourself staying with residential, or do you see maybe getting into commercial development at some point? What's kind of your game plan?
Yeah, we wanna, I'm a big proponent of start where you are, use the resources you have now. So for us, that has been a lot of residential multifamily. The public-private partnership we talked about with the service provider is with a commercial building, but that's housing. I
Mhm.
will say, I mentioned my business, Life Juices.
Mhm.
We're looking to do some development for a mixed use building that will house Life Juices, offering cold pressed juices, smoothies, on the retail level, with housing above. Uh,
Mhm.
so I think we will look to venture into some commercial projects, but all, with a kind of community lens of how it impacts the neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods. So,
Mhm.
we want to kind of farm, our neighborhood for opportunities that are overlooked, right? If that means returning a blighted building to, current use, or, adapting that use creatively to suit the needs of the community. We're gonna approach our development projects, I think, from that community oriented lens.
Well, great. Well, that sounds like very exciting vision, and best of luck to you on your current projects and future endeavors. Mr. Terry, before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to add, or um, give a plug for anything in particular you're working on, or
With the RFP, Inspiring Communities RFP number 7, I definitely want to give a shout out to the other emerging developers that were pre-awarded as well. You have Dalton Outlaw of
Mhm.
Element Boxing,
Yep.
a big personality in St. Paul, who's
Mhm.
who's also farmed his neighborhood to um, you know bring assets and development to the neighborhood that he resides in. Um, you have Joanne Curia from Amani Construction, who was
Mhm.
pre-awarded as well, doing great work with you know new construction of single family homes throughout the Twin Cities.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
um, uh, big shout out to those two. I was they were part of my cohort with LISC and ULI Ready's program. So I'm glad to see that they're involved and they were selected to move forward with the Inspiring Communities RFP as well. So
Yep.
I think, I mean, you know, to I think that success in what's being done with that particular program should be modeled and duplicated with other programs, with the county, across the Twin Cities, from Ramsey to Hennepin and beyond. I think that's how we move the needle in terms of equity inclusion in commercial real estate.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you, sir. Thank you again for your time and best wishes to you in the new year. And let's chat again sometime before too long.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brian, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for taking the interest. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you and have a great day, sir.
Likewise.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.